What's going on, baseball fans? Are the Chicago Cubs on the verge of a rebuild? They're open to some trades. Mike Clevinger will be getting Tommy John surgery. Marcell Ozuna maybe going to the Mets. Let's get into it.
Wake up the dumb bambino and have me face him. Maybe I'll drill him in the ass.
What is going on, baseball fans? Okay, well, that intro looked like it kind of died. I don't know what just happened. Was that intro, like, was the audio off? What just happened? Did that come out? Wow, that really was a fail. I don't know. Wow. That was awful. I spent all weekend making that, and the first time I ever play it, it comes out like that. All right, well, hey, you win some, you lose some, I guess. But what's going on, baseball fans? How are we doing? Welcome in. I'm seeing 32 people in the chat. I'm gonna have to see what the heck happened with the with that intro. Man, I spent a good amount of time this weekend making that, and I was pretty proud of it. But well, hey, whatever. We'll try it next time. But how is everyone doing? I'm seeing 32 people in here. I'm seeing some familiar faces. I'm seeing Hayden. I'm seeing Chester. I'm seeing Alex. I'm seeing Colin. I'm seeing Jackson. What's going on? I'm seeing Ash. Hello, hello. Orioles is here. Sean is here. Hello, hello. Toby is here. What is going on, people? How are we doing? Wilson, BZ Baseball, seeing a lot of familiar faces in here. Patrick, what is going on? How are we doing? But all right, let's get into it. We got some news to cover. Pretty decent news day, in my opinion. I think, good amount of news coming through. Definitely a good amount to talk about. We got a bit to talk about, so we might as well just get right into it. Let's get into the first story of today, which was probably the most recent. It was actually just announced. Mike Clevinger, I think this is kind of awful, but it was kind of hilarious to me. Clevinger signs a new deal, and then then they announce he's getting Tommy John surgery. And I don't mean to laugh at the fact that he has to get surgery. That's not what I'm laughing at. I'm going to show you the tweet here in a second. I just thought it was kind of funny. But Mike Clevinger, he was dealing with arm problems after going to the Padres. He got a couple of starts in. He started having some elbow problems, and he ended up getting shut down. He ended up not even pitching. What did he pitch? 1 inning in the postseason? What did he get, an out? I don't even remember how much he pitched. But it looked like it was inevitable that something was going to happen with him. Mike Clevinger, when he is healthy, he is on. Mike Clevinger is as good as it gets when he's healthy. And I think this is actually good. I think this is good. We talked about this in a previous stream with Mike Clevinger, where I think it's good for the Padres to sign him for the rest of his arbitration years. He has 2 more years of arbitration. Instead of going through that process every single year, I think it's good on the Padres to give him a 2-year deal. It's a guaranteed salary for the next couple of years. I think it's just a good faith kind of a move. The Padres, it seems like they want to keep him for the long haul. They gave up a lot for him, and they want to keep him. So I think this was good on their end. I think this makes the Padres look really good. They know he's going to be getting the surgery, that he's not going to be pitching this next year. He'll be back in 2022, which is his walk year before he enters free agency. And I think the Padres, they have done all that they can to try and hang on to Mike Clevinger. So when he is about to get to free agency, maybe they'll talk about a new deal. The Padres have done their part. They have done everything that they can to make Clevinger happy here. So I think that was a good move on their end. It's going to stink to not see Clevinger next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Padres kind of handle free agency this coming offseason. Are they gonna add a pitcher? Are they gonna trade for a pitcher? We'll take a look at their depth chart here in a second. But I thought it was kind of funny. So if I actually let me pull up this. What am I saying right now? Let me pull up the tweet that the Padres put out. There's one picture that I just have to show. Let me share the screen here. It was pretty much so it was the perfect meme to use for this picture. So here was the tweet. The Padres themselves tweeted this. The Padres have signed Mike Clevinger to a 2-year contract through the 2022 season. This, again, will get rid of the arbitration, and he has a set salary for the next 2 years. And then it says here, Clevinger will also undergo Tommy John surgery on Tuesday. And where is this response? I just need it. I laughed really hard at it. I can't find it now. Hold on, let me see. What is the best way to describe this meme? Happy, then sad meme. Yes, this one. This right here is literally the way to describe this this bit of news. Like, literally, you see the first part of that tweet. You see the first part. They sign him to a new deal, and then bam, he gets Tommy John surgery. It's like, oh, well, okay, well, all right then, great. So, but I thought that was kind of funny. But either way, it's going to stink to see or to not see Clevinger next year. I think when the way people reacted to that trade, a lot of people in San Diego really got hyped up for that trade. People were thinking World Series. But then unfortunately, he just started going down with all these arm problems. And then the Padres just got destroyed by the Dodgers in the postseason. So, what do you all think of this? Do you think this is a good move for the Padres to give him a 2-year deal, even though he will be getting Tommy John surgery? Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if you think this is a good move. Give me a thumbs down if you think this is a stupid move on the Padres end. Personally, I don't know. I think with the Padres, they got a chance to hang on to a guy long term. But do you think this is a bit? Do you think this is a bit risky? Let me know in the chat. Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs down if you disagree. Let me know what you guys think. Orioles, Robbie, Nationals need a catcher. Royals are rebuilding. What are the chances they trade for Salvi? I mean, I can't. Do they have a catcher right now? I don't know. Maybe. The Nationals are kind of in a weird spot where they could contend next year. So maybe that's a possibility. I don't see why not. I'm seeing some thumbs ups. I'm seeing some thumbs downs. I'm seeing more thumbs downs. All right. So a lot of people not agreeing with this. A part of me wants to say, why are you giving a contract to a guy that's about to get Tommy John? They really must like Clevinger a lot. I mean, obviously they do. They give up a lot for him. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. So here we go. Moving on. So kind of the big topic that I wanted to go over was the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs, according to reports, they are open to trading some veteran guys. And this is big news because when I was going into this offseason, I was kind of wondering, like, what the heck are the Cubs doing? They got all these veteran guys. They're going to be hitting free agency soon, like guys like Chris Bryant, Javier Vasquez, Anthony Rizzo. They got all these really good players, but they're just not really getting it done when it comes to postseason baseball ever since 2016. And so, so reports are that right now they are willing to listen to offers. So let me pull up the article here. Here we go. Sharing the screen. Here we go. So Cubs open to move almost any veteran in trades. And again, I think this is big news. And kind of the guy that sticks out to me is Javier Baez, which they talked about here in the beginning of this article. So it's saying here, Javier Baez is reportedly one of the players Chicago is open to at least hearing offers for, which is significant since Baez has been the member of the Cubs core group most often discussed as an extension candidate rather than a trade chip. So in a way, I'm not surprised by it because I think Javier Baez, as talented as he is, I'm not a big fan of the on base. He has a tough time getting on base, but he does really well in the field. He's got a bit of pop. He can drive in some runs. I just don't like the on base. I don't like that he strikes out quite often. But I love his glove out there at short, and I think he could be quite enticing to a lot of teams. One team that comes right to mind for me personally with Javier Baez are the New York Yankees. The Yankees, they had really bad production at shortstop defensively last year. Could the Yankees be open to bringing in a better defensive shortstop, maybe moving Gleyber Torres over to second base? Ultimately, that would mean not bringing back DJ LeMahieu, most likely. Or would the Yankees maybe be open to trading Gleyber Torres? I'm not really sure if they would go that route. I don't think they would. You got a 23-year-old stud of a player who had a fantastic season in 2019 offensively. But the problem with Gleyber Torres has just been the glove. He's just not been reliable out there in the field. At shortstop this year, he had a very bad year defensively. So will the Yankees look to maybe looking into Javier Baez? There's a lot of other teams that could use some shortstops. I don't know. The Reds could maybe use someone. I don't know if the Reds or the Cubs would want to trade in division. You got the Athletics. Marcus Semion's going to be a free agent, or he is a free agent, sorry. Maybe the Athletics maybe want to look into Javier Baez. There's some teams out there that could use a shortstop. So Javier Baez is going to be an interesting name. Another interesting name is Chris Bryant. This is one guy that I had on my top 10 candidates to maybe get traded this offseason. Chris Bryant is an interesting name. He's going to be a free agent soon. He is kind of coming off of a down year because of some injuries, but Chris Bryant has a track record. There are some teams that could use a third baseman. Maybe the Braves. The Braves could really use some more production at third base. A veteran guy like Chris Bryant, who's won a World Series, could be a good get for the Braves. Maybe the Nationals could look at Chris Bryant. Maybe the Twins. There's some teams out there that could use a third baseman. Maybe a team would be enticed by Kyle Schwarber. He's got a lot of power. Maybe a team in the American League, maybe looking for some more production out of the DH spot. So I don't know if they're going to trade Wilson Contreras. He doesn't really come to me as, he's not really a veteran. He's still a very young player. A guy like Anthony Rizzo, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to get rid of Anthony Rizzo? That's an interesting name. If we pull up Anthony Rizzo here, I mean, again, he had a pretty down year when it came to batting average and OPS, but he had 11 home runs. I mean, he had a really good year in 2019. He had 293. He had 27 home runs, 94 RBIs. So I don't know. This year, kind of whatever. I mean, it was only 60 games. He probably could have heated up more as the season progressed. I mean, he still won a Gold Glove this year. Could some teams maybe looking at going after Anthony Rizzo? He's 31 years old. There's a lot of teams that could maybe use some more production at first base. If I go to pull up Fangraphs here, take a look at some leader or how teams did at first base last year, Anthony Rizzo would be a huge get for a lot of teams. And Anthony Rizzo, again, like I said, coming off of a Gold Glove defensive season, taking a look at teams that could use more production at first base. So taking a look here, I don't think the Rangers would really be a team to go after him. I don't know. I mean, Anthony Rizzo in Colorado would be crazy. I mean, maybe the Nationals. I don't know. Definitely not Pirates or Brewers. They're in division. I don't know about the Mariners. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe the Astros could look into him. I mean, I don't know. There's some teams that can maybe look into him. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So there's a lot of things that could happen with the Cubs. I mean, and they got guys like Craig Kimbrell. That was a bad contract from the get-go. Yu Darvish, he just finished, top 3 in Cy Young voting. Maybe Yu Darvish could bring back a good package. Jason Hayward has a pretty bad contract overall. Maybe you could, I don't know, maybe the Yankees could put together some kind of a trade. They could use another ace to go along with Garrett Cole. Maybe Yu Darvish to the Yankees could be a possibility. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you make a complete MLB The Show kind of a trade. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton swaps some bad contracts. Maybe Jason Hayward, Yu Darvish for Giancarlo Stanton, maybe some prospects. I don't know. I mean, something. Kyle Hendricks could be an interesting name. There's a lot of interesting possibilities here. The Cubs have a lot of good players. But you have to face reality here if you're the Cubs. A lot of these players, they're not getting any younger. The Cubs are really going to have to start looking towards the future. 2016 seems like it is long gone. That World Series, as great of a story as it was, you got to come back to reality here a little bit, and you have to realize, hey, we haven't really done anything in the last few years. Last year they came up short to try and make the postseason. This year they lost to a Marlins team that barely got in, that probably shouldn't have even been there. So there's a lot of things here with the Cubs. I mean, if you're seeing this, honestly, I think from a business standpoint, when you're looking at the future, the Cubs don't really, if I were to take a look here, where does MLB.com have the Cubs ranked with their farm system? Let's take a look. I don't think it's very high. Tigers, Padres, Mariners, Marlins, White Sox. Taking a look. I don't think the Cubs are very high. I think they're in the bottom half. Wow, where are they? Did I pass them? No, Cubs, 26. They don't really have many guys in the top 100. They got Braylon Marquez, number 72. Brennan Davis, number 82. I mean, sure, they got a couple of guys in the top 100, but is that really anything to get excited about? I think if you're the Padres, I think maybe you got to kind of maybe hang on to a couple of these guys. I don't think you go full fire sale if you're the Cubs. I don't think you need to do that. I still think you can put a competitive team out there on the field, but I think you're just going to have to make some smart trades. I think they should trade a couple of these guys. See if maybe you can get rid of some bad contracts in Jason Hayward and Craig Kimbrell. I don't know. I was trying to come up with some trades on baseball trade values. I was trying to come up with a way of maybe Giancarlo Stanton going to the Cubs. I know that's not exactly a great contract either, but at least he would bring a ton of offense. I don't know if you'd want to do that. Probably, I don't know. But I don't know. But maybe the Yankees could throw in a couple of prospects along with Giancarlo Stanton. They have some pretty decent young guys, and maybe you can get a Yu Darvish. Maybe you can bring in a Jason Hayward to play some outfield. Maybe in the process, the Cubs could get a guy like Clint Frazier. I don't know. They're going to have to get creative either way, but they have some talent here that can really help retool that farm system. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you think the Cubs should just go full fire sale mode? Give me a thumbs up if you think they should just trade away everyone. What do you think the Cubs should do? What do you think? Tell me in the chat. Let me know. Let me read some comments here. Cubs need to act now. They have no farm team. Hayden, I agree. Welcome, Hayden, by the way. I don't think I said hello earlier. Let's see. Yeah, Hayden, I agree. The Nationals also are a team. Jackson, yeah, trade everyone except Rizzo. I like Rizzo. I think Rizzo's a really good player. That would be iconic for Rizzo to go to Boston. That would be cool. I don't think the Red Sox are going to need him though, just because they got some guys that can already play first. So I think that would be really cool to have Anthony Rizzo back in Boston, but I just don't think he really fits into what they're trying to do. And they got Tristan Casas going to be coming up in the next couple of years. Oh no, the calf neck army is back. Oh, Elvis, no. Calf neck army, I'm sorry. Not today, my friends, not today. Also, if anyone has not seen Giraffe Neck Mark's free agent predictions, head on over. He just, I think, came out with his predictions, I don't know, a couple days ago. I don't know. The one thing about Mark, man, if I were to say, I just wish there was a little more thought into the predictions that he made. I'm not saying, that's what I did. I think just, man, it could put a little more thought into these predictions. That's all I ask. But what do I know? So, Hayden, you're saying no on the fire sale. Goomer is saying yes. Jake is saying yes. Their team is getting worse every year. They need younger players. Colin with the thumbs up. Yep. So I think a lot of us agree. I think the Cubs need to make some trades. So let's come back here. So let's talk about our next topic. So a bit of a rumor floating out there. I don't think there's really too much to it, but rumors are fun. So let's get to the next headline. The Mets interested in Marcell Ozuna? Could this be a possibility? So let me pull up here the article that I was reading. MLB Trade Rumors is always just fantastic. They have all the great news that makes it easy for me to do this on the live stream. So check out MLB Trade Rumors. They are just absolutely fantastic. I think they have some sort of a membership thing too. So MLB Trade Rumors, absolutely fantastic website. The people that run this website are just awesome. So, but let me share my screen. Here we go. So the Mets interested in Marcell Ozuna. To me, well, let me actually kind of read this real quick. Led by new owner Steve Cohen, the Mets are expected to make at least one major splash during free agency. That could come in the form of Marcell Ozuna. Oh, we got something going on. What is happening? Monkey Manland has just subscribed. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Welcome to the channel. Also, we are just continuing to make growth on this channel. We are approaching 3,500 subscribers. So we are on the road to 4,000. So we're almost halfway to 4,000 now. So I appreciate everyone subscribing lately. So, hey, if you know any more baseball fans that, want to subscribe, send them on over this way. We're talking baseball all the time. I'm really like doing these live streams lately. I love the news aspect part of it. So, yeah, let's keep the good vibes going. But as for Marcell Ozuna with the Mets, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel this very much. I like Marcell Ozuna. He's got a great bat, but I don't think he really fits in. I don't think the Mets really need him. I'm not saying he wouldn't help them, but they already got some more offensive-minded outfielders. Where I think the Mets, they need more defense in the outfield. I don't think they need more offense in the outfield. They got guys like Michael Conforto, Nimmo. I don't know, J.D. Davis. Did he really play a lot out there? But they got Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't really see this very much. I think where the Mets need to improve, they need to improve on pitching and defense. I don't really think this is really the move for the Mets to make. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Marcell Ozuna. He was one of the best bats in baseball this past year, but Marcell Ozuna is not going to be the greatest glove out in that outfield. I'm not saying he's going to be absolutely terrible, but he's not really. I don't really think the Mets really need him. I think the Mets have plenty of offense. I think where the Mets just really need to improve, they really need to improve with the pitching, both starting pitching and the bullpen, and just defense. I think the Mets. I think the Mets are really kind of okay when it comes to some offense. I don't think adding some offense is really going to be a bad thing by any means, but I think you got to add offense in different ways. Like maybe a trade for Francisco Lindor would be great because you're adding offense, a dynamic bat, but you're also adding a very good glove out in the field as well. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about Marcell Ozuna maybe going to the Mets? I'm going to give this one a thumbs down personally. I don't know. I don't think it's a great fit. But I don't know. What do I know? Tell me what you think down below. Do you think this is going to be a thumbs up? Do you think Marcell Ozuna should sign with the New York Mets? Do you think the Mets should go after Marcell Ozuna? Or give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down if you don't agree. I'm seeing Jordan Jones with a thumbs down. Jordan Jones, I've been seeing you on these streams a lot lately, so thank you for consistently coming by. I appreciate seeing you. I agree, Tremont. I agree. They need to focus more on pitching. I think they need to go after a Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer had some great things to say about the Mets, and hey, I think if you can get a Trevor Bauer, man, I think you're gonna have a good offseason. Yeah, the Leopard, thumbs down. Jake Romeo, definitely with a thumbs down. Yeah, Kevin, I think he's going to re-sign with the Braves. I think that was just a good fit for everyone around. I think really where the Braves came up short was pitching. So, which was not surprising by any means that their pitching was their shortcoming. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about Marcell Ozuna. I'm really, I'm not the biggest fan of that move. Again, I'm not saying Marcell Ozuna is a bad player. I'm just saying I don't like the fit very much. But that's just my opinion. So moving on to the next bit of news, and this one's not really any surprise. The Brewers open to trading Josh Hader. There's not really any surprise here. I feel like this is something we have seen for the past couple of years now. Every single trade deadline that goes by, Josh Hader may be being traded. Josh Hader is going to get traded here. Josh Hader is going to get traded there. Josh Hader is always seems to be on the trade block. But I think out of any year, Josh Hader, this is the year where this is the offseason where you trade him. Now is the time because you got now Devin Williams who could really just step into that closer role. Devin Williams was absolutely dominant last year for the Brewers, winning Rookie of the Year. That dude was on my fantasy team. He was giving me just straight points all the time. Like Devin Williams was a godsend. And I think with the Brewers, they now have a guy like Devin Williams to where I think Josh Hader is more expendable now. And to me, I think Josh Hader's value, I don't know. He's been digressing a little bit every single year. I don't really unless the Brewers really want to compete, unless they really feel like they can put a team out there to compete. But my problem with that is the Brewers don't have much of a farm system. I believe, where did they rank? I think they were like 29th. The Brewers don't have a very good farm system. And I think with Josh Hader, I think you need to start retooling. And I think you need to start bringing in some younger guys. And Josh Hader's a guy that can get you a couple of pieces. So let me actually just share the article real quick. So Brewers open to moving Josh Hader. The Brewers are looking for offensive upgrades this winter. No surprise. They had the worst offense last year, and they have at least one significant bargaining chip. Milwaukee is open to offers for elite reliever Josh Hader, per Robert Murray of Fansided. So another attractive thing about Hader is the contract. He's only going to be making about $5.5 million this upcoming season. He has another 2 years of control, so that's very intriguing for a lot of teams. So there are, I think, some teams that really could be a good fit for Hader. Immediately, the team that comes to mind for me are the Yankees. That is a team immediately that comes to mind, just because they have a guy like Miguel Andujar. They have Gary Sanchez. Miguel Andujar, a couple of years ago, finished second in Rookie of the Year voting. He had a very good offensive season that year. Gary Sanchez is more of an offensive player. Maybe you could put Gary Sanchez, I don't know where you could maybe fit him in. But I don't know. Maybe the Brewers can figure out something with Gary Sanchez. Maybe they can move him to first. I'm not really sure. But I think the Brewers, they could get a decent package back from the Yankees. The question is, would the Yankees want Josh Hader? They already have an Aroldis Chapman. But hey, the Tampa Bay Rays have shown more power arms in the bullpen is a good thing. So if you can add more velocity into that bullpen for the Yankees, I think you're only going to be helping yourselves. I think Josh Hader being a setup guy, maybe that could help him in the long run. You can kind of pick, different spots with Josh Hader to where he can come in. I can see Josh Hader as being like an Andrew Miller kind of a guy, where he can really just be like, he can come in those high leverage situations, but he won't exactly close out games. So I think Hader could actually be a pretty good fit with the Yankees. I don't know. That's just me. That one seems to be the most obvious because the Yankees need more bullpen help. The Brewers need more younger players. They need more offense. That, to me, sounds like a pretty good trade if you ask me. Why not an Estevan Florial, Gary Sanchez, Miguel Andujar for Josh Hader? I think that's a pretty good trade for both sides. Both sides are getting some pieces. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I mean, Josh Hader, there's a lot of places he could go. He could go to the Phillies. I mean, maybe the Diamondbacks. There's a lot of teams that could use some bullpen help. Maybe the Mets. The Mets could use some bullpen help. I don't know. The Cardinals always seem to. Maybe they could use some more bullpen help. I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing here Jesse, maybe to the Angels. That could be a good fit. Absolutely. The White Sox, they love power arms. Maybe they want to go after Hader. I don't know. I think honestly, here, I said this actually in a stream a couple streams ago. Was it last stream? I can't remember. But Josh Hader to the Rays. I would love that. I mean, I would hate that as a Red Sox fan, but Josh Hader on the Rays would be awesome. The Rays have prospects that they could send back. I mean, and that's another power arm for that bullpen. It keeps the Rays kind of there. They already had one of the best bullpens last year, and now you're adding a guy like Josh Hader. I think Josh Hader on the Rays would be a fantastic fit. He wouldn't have to cut his hair, like he would if he went to the Yankees. I don't know. The idea of Josh Hader stepping into that Rays bullpen, which is already just so dominant, could you imagine that bullpen with Josh Hader in it? I don't know. I don't think they really need him, but if they really wanted to kind of, cement themselves as like, hey, we got the best bullpen out here, go after a guy like Josh Hader. I don't know. That's just me. That's just like kind of a fun way to think about it. But I think teams like the Phillies could really use him. I think the Angels could really use him. I think he would fit really well into that Yankees bullpen. Tell me what you think down below. I actually want to hear some teams where do you think Josh Hader can end up go? Instead of giving me thumbs up or thumbs down, tell me some teams. I'm seeing a couple. Yankees probably won't move Gary because they don't have anyone behind him to start. Well, Jordan. So that's where I think the Yankees, if they can go after a guy like Yadier Molina, or if they can go after a JT Realmuto, maybe a James McCann, I think that's going to make him expendable. I think Kyle Higashioka right now, I'd rather start Higashioka. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But I think there are definitely a lot of ways to acquire a Josh Hader. So Daniel, hey, I gotta be as unbiased as I can be, Daniel. I have to be as unbiased as I can be. I'd love to sit here and talk about the Red Sox all day, but yeah, Jesse, honestly, right? If he cuts his hair, it instantly 10, 20 miles an hour off of his fastball instantly. So, but yeah, so I'm seeing kind of what you guys are saying. I'm seeing Mets, Phillies, Yankees, Angels. Hey, Dodgers would be fun. Dodgers could be interesting. If they don't bring back Blake Treinen, could you? I mean, honestly, I could see the Dodgers doing that. Honestly, I think a lot of teams could use a Josh Hader. Hey, I see a good one here. Kevin was saying the Padres. Why not? The Padres could use some bullpen help, especially if they're not going to get Trevor Rosenthal back. So they kind of swung and missed on Emilio Pagan, getting him from the Rays. I don't know. Maybe they go after another trade for a bullpen guy. But the Padres, they still have prospects. So there's a lot of ways that the Brewers could do this. I think Josh Hader, if I'm going to put my, my hat on, what do you call that kind of a hat for a fortune teller? I don't know. But my fortune teller hat, I would think Josh Hader is going to get traded. I mean, obviously, I have no sources. I mean, who am I? I'm just a talking head on a camera in my apartment. I don't have any sources. But if I were to kind of, think about this here, I think, if you're the Brewers, you need younger players. You need a better farm system. You need offense. You have a closer already in Devin Williams. I mean, I think, to me, this is like a match made in heaven to make a trade. So, but that's what I think. So, let me come back to you here. All right, so our next topic that we're going to get into. So, we got a couple of pictures to talk about. Up next, we have Jake Odorizzi receiving interest. So, Jake Odorizzi is starting to receive quite a bit of interest out there on the free agent market. He is going to be pretty affordable, especially when you compare him to someone like a Trevor Bauer out there. And now that Marcus Stroman is off of the block, Jake Odorizzi, you could say, is the next best starting pitcher behind Trevor Bauer. So let me go ahead here. Let me share the screen. Here we go. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, here we go. So 4 teams showing interest in Jake Odorizzi. This is according to Buster Olney. The Giants, Blue Jays, Mets, and the Twins have all shown interest in signing Jake Odorizzi. The first team that really pops off to me here, the Giants, that's where I predict Jake Odorizzi to go on my free agent predictions. That's where I think Jake Odorizzi is going to end up signing. That's just my opinion. I'm basing that off of simply the fact that Jake Odorizzi is more of a fly ball pitcher. Put him in that field, put him in that stadium, Jake Odorizzi would do really well in that stadium. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and he would fit really well, especially because he's a fly ball pitcher. I think that's a great fit, honestly, to go to the San Francisco Giants. So it's no surprise to me that the Giants here are interested. I could see the Blue Jays being interested in Jake Odorizzi. They need starting pitching, but they're not really a team that breaks the bank very much. They signed Hyun-Jin Ryu last offseason. But I don't think they're really going to spend. They're not going to break the bank for a Trevor Bauer, I think. The Blue Jays, I think a Jake Odorizzi kind of a move is kind of the move that they would make. I'm not surprised to see the Mets having interest. The Mets need starting pitching. And I'm not surprised that the Twins want to bring him back. I think ultimately, in my opinion, I think the best fit is with the Giants. Now, it comes down to, does he think it's going to be a good fit? I don't know. I think it's going to come down to, where is he going to feel the most comfortable? What coaches is he going to feel comfortable with? So there's a lot of interest in Jake Odorizzi. I could see some other teams jumping in on this. Maybe the White Sox, maybe the Angels. I could definitely see that. So tell me where you think Jake Odorizzi is going to end up signing. Do you think he ends up signing with the Giants, the Blue Jays, the Mets, the Twins, the Angels, the White Sox, maybe the Red Sox? I don't know. Probably not. I'm probably not going to see the Red Sox sign Jake Odorizzi. I don't really think that's a good fit. That's funny, Kit Kat Kid. You just said that. I mean, if they got Jake Odorizzi, I wouldn't be. I don't know. I think with the Red Sox, they need to kind of focus on getting a little younger. He's a bit injury prone. He missed a lot of this season. But well, I guess no, he's not. He's not injury prone. I take that back. That was dumb of me to say. He's made a good amount of starts every single year. This year though, he had a bit of a down year staying on the field. But he's had some good numbers over the years. FIPs have been pretty good. He had a pretty high FIP here in 2017 with the Rays. But when he went to the Twins, it seemed like he really figured something out. I wouldn't be surprised to see him stay with the Twins. It seemed like here, he kind of figured something out. He had a pretty bad year with the Rays this year, and then he came over here, and he started pitching pretty well. So I could definitely see him going back to the Twins as well. The Twins need starting pitching. I mean, why would you would hate to lose a guy like Jake Odorizzi. So I think ultimately, he's going to end up re-signing. Not re-signing. I think ultimately he's going to end up signing with the Giants. That's just my opinion. I just think it's the best fit. So let's move on. Here we go. Let me come back. So it's not just Jake Odorizzi that's out there. Actually, a starting pitcher just came off of the market, and that just so happens to be Drew Smiley signing with the Braves. Now, the Braves, they are a team that really, really needs starting pitching. They need a lot of starting pitching depth, and that really showed in the playoffs. And Drew Smiley, he had himself a pretty decent year. So let me share the screen. Here we go. So Drew Smiley with the Giants this past year. So let's take a look here at the stats. He had a pretty good year. Let's see. So he made 5 starts. So he had not the greatest year with the Phillies, or total-wise. With the Rangers, he was awful last year. He was absolutely terrible. Well, then he went over to the Phillies, and it seemed like he figured something out. And then this year with the Giants, look at the strikeouts. 14 strikeouts per 9. This guy was insane. I mean, 26 innings pitched total. So he really figured something out in San Francisco. Look at the FIP, a 2.01 FIP. That's really good. So he figured something out here. And hey, he signed a 1-year deal to go to the Braves. He's kind of banking on himself here to have a good year. And you know what? For the Braves, this is hey, why not go take a chance on him? I don't think he was really that expensive. He signed an $11 million for 1 year. That's not really going to break any banks. That seems like a Braves kind of a move. They always seem to sign these guys that are anywhere from like $5 to $15 million. They're always in that range. They're never going like crazy amount of money. But look what happened this year. They almost made it to the World Series, so they're doing something right. But here we go. So yeah, Drew Smiley. I'm not surprised the Braves made this kind of a signing. So if you take a look at their rotation for next year, you're gonna have Max Fried, Mike Soroka if he's healthy, and now you're adding Drew Smiley. You got Ian Anderson. You got a Kyle Wright. I mean, that's not a bad rotation. I think the Braves, they maybe could add one more starting pitcher because Kyle Wright is he's a little iffy. Maybe they could go after one more guy. So, I don't know, but overall, if you go into the year next year, and also Drew Smiley, I don't know. Do you really know what you're gonna get out of Drew Smiley? I mean, it seemed like he figured something out with the Phillies. He had a good year last year, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he does with the Braves. But ultimately, I think this is a win-win. I think Drew Smiley, he gets a good deal. He gets to test himself. He gets to prove himself. And the Braves, hey, maybe they get lightning in a bottle here with Drew Smiley. So what do you guys think of this move? Do you think this is a good move for the Braves? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think this is a good move for the Braves to sign Drew Smiley. What do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up or thumbs down? So the Leopard, I'm seeing you say maybe the Braves go after Kluber. That could be interesting. Goomer77 with a thumbs up. Jordan Jones with a thumbs up. Daniel Wells, you keep saying you. I'm not really sure. You talking about you, Darvish? I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. JMG with a thumbs up. Orioles with a thumbs up. Ja with the thumbs up. Ace, just heard the Clevinger news. Yeah, man. Yeah, that kind of stinks for San Diego. But if he can come back healthy in 2022, hey, the Padres could be... Look out for the Padres in 2022. I think the Padres could still do pretty well next year, too. It depends on what they're going to do this upcoming free agency. Are they going to make any moves there? Add another starting pitcher. Orioles doesn't sound like a big deal now, but the Nats' new pitching coached when Chris Archer was decent. I could maybe see Chris Archer going to the Nationals. I think that could be a pretty low risk kind of a move. Should come pretty cheap. Sad Angels fan, you could maybe see Kluber going to the Angels. Why not? The Angels, he's starting pitching. So, alrighty, let's get into the last bit of news. A pretty interesting one. The Major League Baseball has announced their Hall of Fame ballot for 2021. So I'm always pretty interested in the Hall of Fame. I'm always very interested in how these ballots go. So let me actually pull up some stuff. I got some things to say about this Hall of Fame ballot. I'm actually pretty excited to see how it turns out, because there actually could maybe be this could be a year for the first time since 2013 where we actually won't see anyone get inducted. It is very possible that no one gets inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. And let me show you why. So let me share the screen. So if we take a look at the players on this ballot, right? So, I mean, there's a lot more players, obviously, but these are the players last year that had the highest percentages. So if we take a look here, Curt Schilling had the highest percentage. He just missed getting into the Hall of Fame last year. You need 75% from the writers. You need 75% of the vote to get in. So Roger Clemens, which that's just crazy seeing a guy like Roger Clemens, 61%. Barry Bonds, 60% last year. Omar Vizquel, he's starting to creep up there. Also, another thing to keep in mind about the Hall of Fame is that you have 10 years on the ballot. So Curt Schilling, this is going to be his 9th year. Roger Clemens is 9th year. Barry Bonds is 9th year. So this is going to be interesting for these three. And the guy that I really think of, I mean, I'm not trying to be biased here because he was on the Red Sox, but Curt Schilling. I mean, obviously he's right there at the top. But if we take a look at Curt Schilling, right? Taking a look at Curt Schilling. This is a guy who I personally think should be in the Hall of Fame. You can disagree with me if you like. I personally think Curt Schilling is one of the best postseason pitchers of all time, if not the best postseason pitcher of all time, maybe besides the Madison Bumgarner. But Curt Schilling, to me, this guy just got it done in the postseason. This is a guy who just, in my opinion, had a solid career. I think what really holds him back are the wins. He only had 216 wins. But at the end of the day, to me, while I think it's cool if a pitcher can get to 300 wins, I think we are in a new era of baseball now where I think wins, because really a win doesn't necessarily say a pitcher is great. I mean, anytime I think of wins and losses, I think of Daisuke Matsuzaka for the Red Sox in 2008. He had 18 wins that year, but Daisuke Matsuzaka was not very good that year. This is a guy that he would pitch like 5 innings every single start. He would walk like 4 or 5 guys a start. He would get a few strikeouts, but the Red Sox had a good offense that year, and they would score enough runs for him to win the game. So Daisuke Matsuzaka in 2008 winning 18 games did not mean he was a good pitcher. Wins don't really mean anything these days. They don't. I'm not a big fan of like the win total. I mean, I used to always think like, wow, this guy had a 22-4 record. This guy is really good. One guy I think of is Rick Porcello in 2016. I think Rick Porcello had a very good year in 2016. He won the Cy Young. I don't think he should, as a Red Sox fan, this is coming from a Red Sox fan. I don't think Rick Porcello should have won the Cy Young that year. I think Justin Verlander should have won the Cy Young that year. I think Justin Verlander had just a better year just overall when it came to all the other stats. And Rick Porcello, I think he got helped out by that win total a bit. So, why are we, can we, no, we're not, everyone, please, no politics here, please. We're talking baseball. So here we go. But Curt Schilling, when I think about a guy like Curt Schilling, I kind of compare him to a guy that is already in the Hall of Fame, Tom Glavine. To me, I think if Tom Glavine is in the Hall of Fame, I think you got to put Curt Schilling in the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Tom Glavine. Tom Glavine should be a Hall of Famer. Look how many innings he pitched. over 4,000 innings, 4,400 innings. That's a lot of innings. He won 300 games. I kind of just ranted about the wins, but either way, he still won over 300 games. He won 2 Cy Youngs. He was a 10-time All-Star. He was a World Series MVP. He won a World Series. But Curt Schilling, to me, he had more strikeouts than Tom Glavine, which I think is impressive. He had a lower ERA than Tom Glavine, just slightly had a lower ERA. But Curt Schilling, looking at his FIP over his career, he had a 3.23 FIP. Tom Glavine had a 3.95 FIP. So Curt Schilling, let's go back to the strikeouts. Curt Schilling, 8.6 strikeouts per 9 over his career. Tom Glavine, 5.3 strikeouts per 9. And Tom Glavine actually, so he walked 3.1 batters per 9. Curt Schilling had a better walks per 9 than Tom Glavine. I'm sorry. If Tom Glavine is in the Hall of Fame, Curt Schilling deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I understand. I understand here if you might not like some of the things Curt Schilling has said on Twitter. He's a bit outspoken when it comes to his politics and whatnot. Okay, whatever. To me, personally, that has nothing to do with the baseball. It has nothing to do with the baseball. But Curt Schilling, I think he has kind of kept more to himself in the last couple of years. I think you're going to see Curt Schilling get that 75%. I think he deserves it. This guy was so good in the postseason. If I actually pull up his postseason stats, dude, this guy was so good in the postseason. In 5 years of postseason baseball total, he won 11 games. He had a 2.23 ERA. He had just a fantastic postseason career. I mean, look at how good he did for the Diamondbacks. Oh my God, like unbelievable. That postseason, he was nuts. The Red Sox, he had the whole bloody sock thing. That was nuts. He got roughed up by the Yankees in Game 1 in the ALCS, but then he came out and threw a gem in Game 6. And then in 2007, he came back out and he did well again. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, you got to put Curt Schilling in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, I will lose my mind. He has one more year on the ballot after this. So I do think if he doesn't get in this year, he is going to get in next year. But I think you got to put Curt Schilling in. I mean, come on. Who else are you going to put on this? Who else? If you take a look here, actually, let's go to this one. You got Curt Schilling. I think Roger Clemens. If I would be voting, right? If I'm going to be voting, if I was a writer that got to make a vote, personally, I would check off the box for Curt Schilling, and I would check off the box for Roger Clemens. Barry Bonds, I'm still a little about Barry Bonds a little bit. I don't know. I'm really weird on Barry Bonds. The guy put up some insane numbers. I personally think, take the steroids away, I think he still has a Hall of Fame career. But I don't know. I think a guy like Omar Vizquel, I think eventually Omar Vizquel is going to get in. That glove that he had in his career was absolutely fantastic. Scott Rowland, I think, was a very underrated player in his career. Scott Rowland was just so good on both sides of the ball. He had a great glove. He had a good bat. A guy like Gary Sheffield, I think, eventually can get in. But yeah, if I were going to make picks, I think Curt Schilling, Roger Clemens. I think you got to put Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens, to me, was just so good. But yeah, Barry Bonds, I think eventually I will warm up to putting Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. I mean, as you can see, he's getting closer. I remember his first year on the ballot. I think, what did he even have? He had like 10% of the vote. Was that right? I don't remember. But yeah, so another interesting thing about the Hall of Fame is that this year, there will most likely not be a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. So there has actually been a bit of a streak going in the last 5 years. In 2014, Greg Maddux was on the Hall of Fame ballot for the first year. He made it in. Tom Glavine and Frank Thomas. They were in 2014 as well. 2015, you had John Smoltz, Pedro Martinez, and Randy Johnson. They were first-time ballot Hall of Famers. 2016, Ken Griffey Jr. And then
Ivan Rodriguez in 2017, Chipper Jones and Jim Thome in 2018, Mariano Rivera and Roy Halladay in 2019, and then Derek Jeter this past year. So the guys that are on the ballot for the first time, you got Torrey Hunter, you got Tim Hudson, and you got Mark Burley. Those guys those were really solid players. They were great players. Torrey Hunter, I could maybe see Torrey Hunter maybe eventually making it. I think Torrey Hunter was one of the really good players in this game. I'm not quite sure about Tim Hudson and Mark Burley. Out of those three, I would think Torrey Hunter eventually makes it to the Hall of Fame. But either way, you're probably not going to see a first-time ballot Hall of Famer make it this year. Again, kind of touching up on Bonds and Clemens again. So they saw a bit of an increase percentage-wise last year, 1.6% for Bonds, 1.5% for Clemens. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to end up making it in. I think writers for the most part have just decided that they just don't think they're going to get in. I would personally at least put Clemens in. I thought Clemens was just so good, even before all of the steroid allegations and whatnot. But yeah, Omar Vizquel again. I could really see Omar Vizquel. He got about a 10% increase on last year's ballot. So I think Omar Vizquel eventually you're going to see get in. But then there's some other guys like Roland. He jumped up almost 20% on last year's ballot. Gary Sheffield, he made a huge jump on last year's ballot. So that's going to be interesting to see how that ends up going. Billy Wagner had a 15% jump. Todd Helton had about a 13% jump. Andrew Jones had about 12%. And Jeff Kent had about a 9%. So, yeah, to me, most likely, I think Curt Schilling is the only guy that's going to make... I don't see any of these other guys. I think Omar Vizquel, I think you could see Omar Vizquel getting a huge jump. I think Omar Vizquel, when you see him on this list and you got some other guys that are a little controversial and then some other guys that maybe aren't quite there yet for when it comes to Hall of Fame, at least percentage-wise, I think Omar Vizquel, I think you're going to see him make a huge jump. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to see Omar Vizquel get in. I wouldn't. That would be a huge percentage jump. That he would need about 22.5% of an increase from last year. I think that's a pretty big increase. I don't think that's going to happen. But Omar Vizquel, I would not be surprised to see him get anywhere from around 65 to 70%. But if Omar Vizquel does get voted in, I would not be surprised. I think Omar Vizquel was very good in his career. Actually, if I pull up Omar Vizquel, this guy was so good with the glove. He was so good with the glove. So many years just with Cleveland. I mean, this guy had a 24-year career. I mean, he wasn't exactly like the best guy when it came to offense, but he wasn't bad either. I mean, overall in his career, he had a 688 OPS. I don't know if that's really kind of, the type of offense that you put into the Hall of Fame, but look how many gold gloves did this guy win? He won 11 gold gloves. He was a 3-time All-Star. He was very good. There were some years where he actually did really well. In 99, he had 333. I mean, the highest OPS of his career, it looked like 99 was his best season. So, well, maybe not. I don't know. He had 14 home runs in 2002, so he did something right with the power in that year. But where Omar Vizquel is the most valuable is his defense. He was just very good on defense. He made a lot of just great plays out there. He was just as sound as they come at defense at shortstop, which is also just a very tough position to play. So I would not be surprised to see Omar Vizquel maybe make it in this year. I think eventually you're going to see him get in. But this year, I think if you're going with anyone, I think you got to go Curt Schilling this year. I think he is so close. I think the writers, they just got to, whatever. If they don't like Curt Schilling, and that's kind of been a problem. Curt Schilling has actually been on podcasts and whatnot, and he said, the only reason I'm not in the Hall of Fame is because these guys don't like me. They just simply don't like him. They don't like some of his political views. I have no problem with his political views. I don't know. I think some of the things he can be a little outspoken, and I think he should kind of keep to himself a little bit. I don't know. So he has said some kind of things that are a little but that's just my opinion though. I mean, and these are just opinions. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is what you did on the field. And Curt Schilling, really the only thing you can say about Curt Schilling was that he didn't have a lot of wins. He had like 200. What was the amount of wins he had? 214 or 216 wins. Okay, wins don't say if a pitcher is good or not. What I look at is the body of work. He had over 3,000 strikeouts. He had over 3,000 innings pitched. He had a good ERA in his career. He won 3 World Series. He had a fantastic postseason career. I'm sorry, but I'll say it again. If Tom Glavine made it into the Hall of Fame, Curt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame as well. Curt Schilling won more World Series. He also had a World Series MVP. He had a National League Championship Series MVP. Curt Schilling, to me, you have to put Curt Schilling in. If Tom Glavine's in the Hall of Fame, you have to put... If Tom Glavine's in, you have to put Curt Schilling in. But yeah, David, I agree. The media, they're just not a big fan of him, and that's why he's not in, and that's the truth. It's these people don't want to vote him in, but I think at the end of the day, I think they're going to come to their senses, and they're going to say, you know what, this guy did enough on the field. So he should be in the Hall of Fame. I agree, and that's not biased on my end. Curt Schilling is one of my favorite pitchers of all time, and that's not even because he was on the Red Sox. I loved Curt Schilling when he was on the Diamondbacks. That 2001 World Series run, Curt Schilling was so good that postseason, and he was so good that year. Oh, my God. And what he did for the Red Sox in 2004, absolutely amazing. So those are just my thoughts. But what do you all think before I get out of here? What do you think? Do you think Curt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame? Give me a thumbs up if you agree. Give me a thumbs down if you disagree. I agree, Kit Kat Kid. I think Yadier Molina should get in eventually. I don't think it's going to take him very long. I think maybe that could take a couple of years for him to get in. I don't know. I think he could maybe be a first ballot. That could be possible. Jeff Kent, I think eventually you could see Jeff Kent get pretty close. Jeff Kent was pretty good. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up here. That's just, I don't know. To me, like I said, if Tom Glavine's in, how is Curt Schilling not in the Hall of Fame? And that's just because people in the media don't like him. So, whatever. And a lot of times, Curt Schilling, he speaks the truth. So, whatever. If you disagree or agree, that's an opinion at the end of the day. What is fact is that Curt Schilling was one of the best pitchers of all time. So, you can disagree with me if you like. That's just my opinion. Billy Wagner, I think, could be interesting eventually to get in. So, but that is all I have for tonight, everyone. I appreciate everyone for coming in. I think we almost got to 100 people in here tonight. So, if there are more things to talk about tomorrow night, if we get some more baseball news, I will be right back here tomorrow night. So everyone, I want to thank you again for coming out. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you next time.